Hello children, welcome to the channel SES. Like, subscribe the channel and share to your friends. Okay. In the last class, I have discussed about heredity and evolution and important questions I have given. Now we'll discuss about our environment. In this, what are the expected questions? Mostly the questions are asked on the food chain, bioaccumulation, and about ozone depletion. Okay, we'll discuss one after the other. Mostly the questions, 1 mark questions can be given in the form of food chain because CBSE are facing for the first time NCERT books you are facing, isn't it? So basic questions are asked, you need not worry about it. Food chain can be given and you will be asked to write it in a proper way. It is not written in an order. You are supposed to ask it right in a proper way. Okay. And pyramid, food pyramid can be given. From that, questions can be asked about the autotrophs, what are autotrophical levels, different trophical levels. Questions may be asked. How many trophical levels are there? 4, right? 4. We'll discuss about that. So, give a reason why a food chain cannot have more than 4 trophic levels. Why? For this, you need to write about the 10% law. Observe this figure better. Observe this figure. Observe this figure. So, in the entire world, if you take our planet, the maximum number of what you can say living organisms or autotrophs, than that we have very microbial organisms, those are decomposers. We'll look into that decomposers later. Will even such question, what is the role of decomposers in environment? Or do we require decomposers? Obviously we require. The role of decomposers, we'll look into that. Now coming to this, the green one here, it is the producers, the primary producers, or you can basing on the food eating habits. These are named as primary producers, or here it is primary consumers, here it is secondary consumers and tertiary consumers. Here they are food heat, based on the food heat. This is about the trophic level, isn't it? Based on the food eating habits, they are classified as herbivores, producers, herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, that you know. Okay. Now coming to the food primary producers or autotrophs, which prepare food on their own by the process called photosynthesis, you know that. So if at all they produce, assume that 10,000 kilocalories per year, 10,000 kilocalories of energy per year. Moving on to the next level of next trophic level, that is primary consumers. Those are herbivores. They depend on this plant, so they are considered herbivores. So when we move on to the bottom of the trophic level to the apex of the trophic level, from the each level there is 10% loss of energy. 10% loss of energy. That is, if it is 10,000 kilocalories of energy from plants, from autotrophs, from the primary consumers, how much is that? It is 10,000 into 10%. What is that? 1,000. So there is loss of 10%, isn't it? This is 10% rule. 10% rule. So they produce 1,000 kilocalories per year. Now, secondary consumers or the living organisms which depend or which consume primary consumers, that is herbivores, isn't it? Like deer or cow, all these are herbivores, isn't it? Goat, isn't it? These are carnivores. A tiger, lion, all these are carnivores, isn't it? They lose 10% of energy. How much do they get? They get only 100 kilocalories of energy. After that, the higher level, if they move to the higher level, these are the tertiary consumers, they get only 10% from them. They get only 10% from them. Here they are producing 10,000 kilocalories, loss of 10, they get only 10% here. Okay, they get, what is 10,000 of 10% is 1,000, isn't it? They get only 1,000 here, and from here they get only 10% here, that is 100. From here it is only 10%, 100 into 10%, how much is that? It is 10, isn't it? If you go beyond that, you get nothing. 10%, 10% into 10 into, you get nothing, isn't it? So there is no possibility of more than 4 trophic levels. This is how you can write. You should mention about 10% law. Okay. So the vast majority of energy, it is lost as heat in every trophic level to the environment. It is lost in the form of energy. So every time it is lost, and the next trophic level will get only the 10% of this. Got it? Coming to the role of decomposers. Decomposers are also called detrivores. These are also called as detrivores. What is the main role of them? They decompose, or they break up the complex debris or waste into simpler molecules, and these are added to the soil as nutrients, which are again utilized by the plant. So the major role of decomposers is it will provide nutrients to the soil so that the plants can consume that for preparing food. So these are also called as, decomposers are also called as scavengers, or also called as detrivores. These are the microbial organisms which will decompose or break down the complex substances into the simpler one. Okay. So the question, the loss of energy each step is so great that I told you most of the energy it is lost to the environment as heat. Only 10% every trophic level will receive. So it is so great that very little is useful, and it remains after 4 trophic levels. After 4th trophic level, nothing is available. This is 10% law. Next, coming to biodegradable and degradable. This question you are learning since your childhood. What is biodegradable and what is non-biodegradable waste? Biodegradable waste are the materials which can be broken down and decomposed by microbial organisms. If they are broken down by microbes, aren't they useful? Definitely, because they are broken down and they are added to the soil as nutrients. Again, the plants will utilize, and from plants we get energy. We have food from plants, isn't it? We take any plant products as food, isn't it? Yes. So biodegradable waste are the materials that can be broken down or decomposed by bacteria or microbes into simpler molecules. Non-biodegradable, these waste they cannot be broken down or decomposed by microbes. Those are non-biodegradable. The question might be, why are non-biodegradable waste harmful? If they are not broken down into simpler ones and they are present in the soil for the long time, what is going to happen? Isn't it hazardous to the environment? Isn't it hazardous for the plants or animals, which if at all it is a plastic paper, if it eats, the animal eats, that digestion, isn't it disturbed? Yes, it is harmful to the environment. That is the reason why these are harmful. Because they are not broken down into simpler molecules, for longer time they stay in the environment as it is. So these are harmful to the environment. Okay, harmful to us too. After all, we are also part of environment, isn't it? Now, what is the next difference if at all questions, differences are asked? These waste materials can be converted into simpler compounds and eventually they return to environment, natural environment, I told you, in the form of nutrients and all this. These are persistent in environment for the longer periods. Non-biodegradable waste are persistent in the environment for the longer period. Examples you can see. Plant products, biodegradable, organic waste, biodegradable, animal waste, biodegradable. What are non-biodegradable? Glass, synthetic material, man-made material, plastics, metals, these are non-biodegradable waste. Okay. Now, one question. About the trophic levels again, I forgot to ask this question. What will happen if we kill all organisms at one trophic level? We'll check this. If at all we remove this trophic level, will kill all organisms present in the trophic level, like herbivores, all the cattle, deer, elephants, all are taken out. What is going to happen? What is going to happen? The energy transfer is disturbed first. Yes, these are completely dependent on this. The third trophic level is completely dependent on the first trophic level. Will it survive? No, this population decreases. This population, the third trophic level population decreases because it is completely dependent on the second trophic level. The energy it is getting is from the second trophic level, isn't it? Now, what will happen to this one? Autotroph, they will increase enormously because these are not consuming these. Everywhere you can find plants, everywhere you can find plants. If at all I remove this one trophic level I am speaking about, what this is disturbed, one, this will decrease, this will increase, there is completely imbalance in the ecosystem. There is complete imbalance in the ecosystem. This is how you are going to write if at all question is asked. What will happen if you take out or kill all organisms from one trophic level, write down in points. So the trophic level above this will be decreased because it is completely dependent on this trophic level, and trophic level below it will increase because nobody is there to consume that trophic level. 3 points, and there is the energy level is disturbed and there is imbalance in the ecosystem. What are the different methods? We have seen about biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste. What are the methods of waste disposal? Okay, if at all it is a biodegradable waste, we can use that in biogas plant. Okay, these biodegradable waste can be used in biogas plant to produce biogas or natural gas, like methane or manure. You can produce even manure that is utilized for the plants as fertilizer. Next, sewage treatment, different methods. Sewage treatment, the drainage water, whatever it is in the drain, that is treated at the sewage plant, that is sent for the sewage treatment plant before that is added to the rivers. Because if that sewage water, it is all that sewage water, it joins that, or it is mixed up with the river water. River waters are considered fresh water, isn't it? We consume river water for many purposes, mainly for drinking. If the sewage or drainage water is mixed up, definitely there are health issues, isn't it? So this drainage water, it should be cleaned in the sewage treatment plant. Okay, landfilling. Next method is landfilling. Whatever waste is there, that can be kept in it and it can be covered and it can be burnt out. That is also possible. Composting. Compost pit, you learned it from your school childhood days, isn't it? Even your mother, she does this vegetable waste or fruit waste, whatever she gets, she keeps it in a pot and closes that for so many days so that it decomposes and that can be used as manure, organic manure to the plants. Composting, that can be done. Recycling. Recycling, this is especially for non-biodegradable waste. These can be like plastics. Few are there, few you for example, you drink some water in a bottle from or in cans. It is written that it can be recycled. These are recycled so that it can be utilized for future use. Okay, reuse. Reuse, instead of throwing them away, you can again fix it and you can use it. That is also one of the methods. And last one is, after all this you have done, when you want to discard the waste material, please try to use different types of dustbins for discarding this biodegradable and non-biodegradable. Because biodegradable, the decomposition of this is easier, so that can be treated easily. Non-biodegradable, that can be sent for recycling. So use different dustbins or trash cans for that. So these are the different methods of waste disposal. Now questions can be asked on ozone layer. What is ozone layer? How many atoms of oxygen are present in ozone? 3. O3, because it is O3. Where is ozone layer present? In the stratosphere. In the stratosphere, approx 50 to 60 kilometers from the Earth's surface. Okay, ozone. If you look at that, what is the importance of this ozone layer? Look at the thickness of this ozone layer. This is important. This ozone layer, it prevents the harmful ultraviolet rays entering into the Earth. It will prevent the harmful ultraviolet rays entering into the Earth. Why these ultraviolet rays are very harmful? They cause skin cancer. Next, questions can be asked on ozone layer and ozone depletion. First of all, what do you mean by ozone? Ozone, it is present in the atmosphere. Yes, if you write the composition of atmosphere, ozone is present in the atmosphere, and it is also one of the greenhouse gases. Okay, GHGs, ozone is also included, but it is that is the negative part of ozone. But the positive, very important, is it is present in stratosphere. It is present in stratosphere, approximately 50 to 60 kilometers from the Earth's surface, and it will prevent harmful UV rays, ultraviolet rays, radiations entering into Earth's surface. These ultraviolet rays, they cause skin cancers. So this ozone layer, look at the thickness of the ozone layer. This is being depleted nowadays. This was first found in the Antarctic circle at pole. This was in 1985. Okay, why we are considered about the ozone depletion? If at all there is a hole in the ozone layer, the UV rays enter. These are very harmful. I said they enter into the Earth's surface and they lead. There are many ill effects of this. First of all, it is skin cancer. Okay. Now, what is ozone? First of all, ozone is a 3 atom of oxygen. O2 is oxygen, right? O3 is ozone. O3 is ozone. So, how many atoms of oxygen are present? 3. Okay. So, what do you mean by ozone depletion, and what steps are taken for this ozone depletion? We'll look into that in detail. So which is the main thing which is involved in this ozone depletion? Those are chlorofluorocarbons. chlorofluorocarbons. These are present in coolants, in refrigerators, in air conditions. These chlorofluorocarbons are present. When they react with the ozone, they break down the ozone molecule, and so that the ozone layer is depleted. Ozone layer is depleted. This was found in 1985, and many, like in Montreal Protocol, it was signed to control the emission of these chlorofluorocarbons. Okay, that is Montreal Protocol. That is an international treaty. It is in Canada. So the foremost use of chlorofluorocarbons, and also the other pollutant is nitrogen monoxide. These are the two important chemicals which are responsible for the depletion of ozone layer. Okay, when harmful chemicals like chlorofluorocarbons, they are released into air, it accumulates in upper atmosphere, you can see over there, and they react with ozone. I told you, I explained this earlier. They react with this, and they will lead to the reduction in the thickness of this ozone layer. It may lead to depletion of hole so that this UV rays, they enter. Got it? Thus the ozone layer in the atmosphere, it becomes thinner and it gets depleted, and more of ultraviolet rays, they pass through it, and this phenomenon is called ozone hole. It is called ozone hole. Okay, when chlorofluorocarbons or nitrous monoxide, they react with the ozone, what is going to happen? They'll decompose that ozone, and oxygen and one molecule of oxygen, they are released, and there is the thickness of the ozone layer, it is reduced, and it may lead to depletion of that ozone layer, and this is called ozone hole. The Antarctic hole in the ozone layer, it is caused due to this chlorine molecules that are present in chlorofluorocarbons. So what can be done? Ozone layer can be protected by, what can be done to reverse? You can't reverse it, at least to maintain that, what can be done? Stop releasing this chlorofluorocarbons, that is, don't use the gadgets which are producing chlorofluorocarbons, okay, and remove the pollutants like nitrogen monoxide. Try to do that, and reduce using air conditions, because I told you some refrigerators nowadays, it is not designed, these refrigerators are not designed like that. Earlier refrigerators were heavy refrigerators. If you ask your parents, you may, or your grandparents, they'll tell you they were very heavy, and they were producing this lot of chlorofluorocarbons. Now they are designed in some other way. In coolants, these chlorofluorocarbons are emitted, they react with ozone, and what happens? Ozone depletion. So next, United Nations Environment Program, that is UNEP, United Nations Environment Program, it succeeded in forging an agreement to stop this fluorocarbon production in 1986, because first it was found in 1985 in Antarctic hole. So in 1986, all the countries should sign that. All the countries should sign that, so that they lessen their emissions of this chlorofluorocarbons. Okay, this is about ozone depletion. I think I made it clear. Now, the last topic of this, biomagnification. Biomagnification. Question can be asked, why is excess accumulation of pesticides in rivers? Farmers, they use pesticides, isn't it? They use pesticides, and all this pesticide, they go into the rivers, isn't it? Yes, soil, when soil erodes, this pesticides, they go into this rivers or ponds, they result from the use of several pesticides. It is a serious concern for the environment. Why this is a serious concern for the environment? You look at this picture, just looking at that picture, you can understand what is happening. This is called biomagnification. For this question, you need to write this biomagnification and DTT. DTT. Consider this is the pesticide. DTT is a pesticide. So this, how many parts per million? Almost you can see 0.0000003 parts per million is in there, that the DTT is there in the water. Okay, zooplankton has consumed. Zooplankton are the small animals, microbial animals present in the water. They are floating animals. What will happen? From here to here, they consume water, isn't it? From here to here, look at the magnification. It was this much. From here, it is 0.04 parts per million. From here to small fish consumes the zooplanktons and phytoplanktons. Zooplanktons are the animals, microbial animals. From here to here, it is just 0.5 parts per million. It has increased 10 times more. Now from here to here, more than 10 times. Large fish, when they consume, it is 2 parts per million. Now when this fish is consumed by a hawk, 25 parts per million. How much is it? More than 10 times. It has magnified. That is the amount of pesticide present in the DTT present in the hawk. Now, from 0.00003 parts per million to how this has magnified. So this is called biomagnification. It is the accumulation of chemicals in the individuals of higher trophic level, from lower trophic level to higher trophic level, as these are non-biodegradable. If at all it is biodegradable, due to the bacterial activity, it might have been broken down into simpler molecules, and that will be utilized by the body. As it is non-biodegradable, it is present in the body for a longer duration, as it is moving from one higher trophic level to higher trophic level. That is, this concentration is being, because the mass of the body increases, isn't it? When it is this much, see, for example, this is this much, but fish doesn't consume only one. Fish doesn't consume only one, it consumes more. So 0.44 into some 100. Got it? Now this large fish doesn't consume only one, it consumes more. 0.5 into some 1000, or you take 100. This doesn't consume only one fish, some 10 fish. So some 10 fish. Got it? So the concentration, their concentration increases at each level. Human beings at the top of, we are at the top of the trophical level, the pyramid, food chain pyramid. We receive the higher concentration of this harmful chemicals, which results in various health problems. These are some of the important questions in environment. Based on this, different types can be asked, but the main themes I have explained. Okay, I'll cover life processes and reproduction part and control and coordination in the next videos.